Hello, this is your host Akhil Navluri, and welcome to the brand new episode of the Techospace podcast series. In this podcast episode, I'm super thrilled and honored to welcome one of the most eminent and prominent people of the IT industry, having a range of experience working with MNCs like NAB and Telstra in the past. We have Mrs. Eva Olsson, who's based out of Melbourne, Australia, and it gives us a huge pleasure to welcome Eva to this podcast episode of ours. So, Eva, how are you doing, and how are things in Melbourne, by the way, at the moment?
Oh, yes, I'm doing fine. Thank you very much. And thank you so much for that kind introduction. Yes, all good.
Fantastic, Eva. So I think, yeah. So I mean, how is the weather in Melbourne? Is it like, four seasons in a day? How is the summer going on at the moment?
Oh, yes, the summer. Well, today it's been a bit rainy this week, but I think it's starting to look better, which I really enjoy. We had a bit warmer in the afternoon, so it's going in the right direction.
Fantastic, fantastic, Eva. That's good to know. So without further ado, let's kick off with our podcast episode. All right. So, Eva, can you give me a timeline of your complete journey in the IT industry?
Yeah, sure. Wow. I've been around for a while and I had quite a long journey within the IT and design space. And it's actually been over 20 years now. But it started when I studied sociology, statistics, and ethnology in Sweden and at the university. And at the same time, I supported myself working in elderly care. But that was also the one of the first times when I really started to use computers. I mean, I'd used them earlier with simplified ping pong games
Okay.
that didn't have much of a graphical interface.
Right.
My father had one of those computers at home. But at the university, I started to use different software. There was one called SAS, as I remember it, and it was more like a command interface. So it's like you enter some code, and it was to help with analyzing data from surveys. But working with the elderly people and so on, I really start to get interested in how I could make something more useful and shape it that so it helps people a bit more. And from there, I moved on to roles and companies like Ericsson and IBM, and I worked across Europe, South America, with clients on web content management and usability, designing intranet solutions. So very much digital applications and running workshops, training editors. I mean, I started to work with all different types of digital solution, and kind of early on, I thought, oh, that I'm really interested in how that works and how people interact with the systems. And then I moved on to Australia, and I worked within utilities and government and places like Melbourne Water, Department of Sustainability and Environment. And I worked with business analysis, project management, stakeholder engagement, and I really started to get interested how to blend this kind of technical delivery into user-centered design thinking. And over this time, I also completed education, formal education in UX design, graphical design, product management, and business analysis. And then also started to work again within telecommunications. So I worked with NBN, also had a shorter stint as a electricity utility company and insurance. But during this time, I think it was around 2015, I met someone who was a service designer. And I think that was kind of a turning point for me, because I really appreciated the way he described the customer journey. He had actually a service blueprint he showed me, and it made it much easier to understand how it all hanged together from a customer experience perspective, but also from those people who are working within the system and all the different systems. Telco is quite complex spaces.
Yeah.
So I started from that point in time, even though I'd done like user flows and so on, and research and ethnographic studies and so on, but I started to use a more holistic thinking, and it helped me to design the system and applications and work with people in a more like system thinking way, and also in combination, I managed to get a role as a service designer at Telstra, and then later on at NAB. And I also took a course in service designer, so I had more formal education. It was at the Swedish university. So while I was working, so I could kind of see if what I was doing, what was that actually the right thing as well. And I also been very fortunate having fantastic people and colleagues around me who have taught me a lot as well. But yes, I think that's kind of where now I'm focusing mostly on service design, strategic design, but I'm always also interested in tech, and been working a bit with AI as well. So maybe that sounds like a varied story, but I think what's kind of stayed consistent is like the focus on understanding users and making things work for them.
That's a beautiful line. Yeah, a plethora of experience. Eva, like lots of things, lots of experiences, working with big MNCs like, IBM, NAB, with Telstra, and all, big reputed clients as well. Now, I understand, Eva, that, you come from Sweden. And how was your transition when you moved to Australia? How did you find the transition like?
Well, the transition, I think, yeah, it was really interesting, and there is a bit of differences I guess, in the two different cultures as well. But once I started to learn about people and how the culture worked, and also understand all the abbreviations. I don't. So I think, I mean,
Yeah,
I love being in Australia and so on. But if you haven't been growing up here and you hear all those abbreviations like Arvo and something,
Oh, yeah.
it makes you a little bit. I know it made me a little bit confused, and
Yeah.
I didn't really grasp what people were talking a bit about.
Yeah.
But yes, yeah, no, I think once you started to get through that, yeah, it was really good, and I really enjoy living here as well.
That's good to know, Eva. Now, Eva, as a service design and a UX professional, what are the key differences, that you have observed with respect to its implementations, belonging to the sectors of IT, telecommunications, insurance, then, going on with the likes of government and, all the other industries. How did you find the implementation there with respect to that?
Yeah, well, that sounds like a lot. Well, I guess you get the experience with age as well, but yeah, I think when it comes to service design, like the core principles are, say, consistent, but in a way how it's implemented, it depends on the environment. But I'm just now speaking from my experience. I like to use data before I generalize things. So yes, I'm a little bit of a truth seeker. I really want to understand the why behind things. So yes, it's from my experience. But if you just take a couple of examples like telecommunications, and I see it my experience is it's very complex with all the systems, and you dealing with a deeply layered infrastructure, legacy platforms, and many different teams and so on. But and also fragmented data, but it moves actually quite fast, considering how complex it is. And it is also that constant pressure of delivering service and being competitive to me and to meet customer expectations. And I think from a service design perspective in that space, it's really about like sense making that complexity and dealing and helping the teams to align on what matters for the customers.
Yep.
Because like a internet service can have like dozens of systems. You have the modems, routers, exchanges, billing, and diagnostic tools, and then you have all the people as well around that. So I think, navigating all that while still trying to design something that's simple and intuitive for customers is quite special for that type of industry. And also, if I add to it, like industries like telcos or utilities, the services can feel quite abstract to users. And I mean, not everyone. I mean, I've been in interviews with CTOs that have been like encyclopedias of infrastructure and cloud. But for many, they just want it to work. They don't think much about it. It's something you use it for some other value, like having meetings like we have now.
Yep.
So it's kind of also you have to design for a big spectrum of understanding. And that's kind of different from maybe other services, like say in finance, where products are a bit more familiar and tangible. So that's also another aspect, I would say. And I guess also if we're looking at some other examples like finance, government, it's more layered and regulated, so more stakeholders and perhaps a bit more hierarchy. But also it's kind of necessary due to compliance. So you have all those regulatory requirements you have to adhere to, and you work across different stakeholder teams like policy, operations, legals, and so on to make sure you do things properly. But that makes maybe the decision making take a little bit longer time because you have more people. But as I mentioned, those services are a little bit more tangible still, so the users might understand them better, what they actually are.
Yeah.
So they like the journey mapping when you test something with a customer and ask them questions about what type of internet service they want to purchase, or if their awareness of it. It's a bit harder for them to answer those questions. But so I guess those are kind of the main differences. But I think also something that's important, and that something that cuts across all sectors, according to my experience, is also the business cultures. So in some organization, they are thinking about the users, they have the journeys, it's like second nature to them. And in some cultures, it's still a bit of a shift, and you have to go gently and advocate for it. But I think, service design really helps to bring that all together. And as it is a structured process where you base it on data and research. So it kind of helps to bring those systems and people and all the different touch points together. But, I'm talking about differences here and some similarities, but I also generally found all the different areas and companies I've been working for very interested in. So
Yep.
I feel I've been fortunate.
Okay.
And I'm very passionate about understanding the users and bringing the team along so we work together to build something that's meaningful and also work for the business. So it's like, wherever I work, I try to bridge the gaps basically, so we can work together and be aligned and therefore provide the best experience both for customers as well as the staff involved.
Fantastic, Eva. So, Eva, when it comes to the sectors of finance and the energy sector, how different do you find the implementation there? Like, do you see any changing factor between these two? When we talk about on a separate note for both of them.
From a service design perspective, or like,
Yes.
yes, yeah, no, and I guess that's what I'm going back to. It is yes. So finance, and you mentioned energy, and I guess where I have my most experience is within telecommunication. It's from a customer point of view that service is a bit more abstract, and you have to design for a big range of understanding of what that service is. And of course, a complex service within finance as well, but it's a bit more tangible and easier maybe to understand. And also, as I mentioned, I think it's the backend system also, like telcos also, and
Okay.
electricity also, infrastructure heavy, asset heavy. So there are so many moving parts and all different systems, legacy systems and so forth, that you have to bring together. So to understand how are all those things contributing to the customer experience. And even financial institutions and companies can you be very big as well, and so on. But yeah, bit, I guess, as I mentioned, a bit more layered, more stakeholders involved. I don't know. Does that provide some idea here? So it's kind of more tangible services, maybe from if you work in finance than if you work in telecommunication. And this is based on my experience. People understand it a bit better.
Yep.
So yes.
That's fantastic, Eva. Now, Eva, like, what gave you the inspiration and drive to combine the human-centered technology with the advanced data and AI technologies? Again, thereby creating intuitive and intuitive experiences for the users.
Oh, well, I guess, I'm passionate about understanding users regardless. And I think, I've been fortunate to work with really interesting projects around AI and data. But I think my drive is to kind of bridge that technical part with the human experience. So you really design something that works for people. I think I repeated myself a couple of times now about that. But especially when it comes to those data AI, it's like they're quite complex, and my experience can be quite fragmented with the data because there's so many different systems and
Yep.
they might not talking to each other, and it's fragmented, and also you have all the different people working with them. But I see when you work together with those different parts, and also particularly with people working in this with data analytics, data scientists, and areas. If you bring those disciplines together, that's when you can build something really powerful because you come from different perspectives. And
Yeah.
I guess one of the examples, thinking back in time, which I was fortunate of being part of, was looking at developing AI solutions for Australian industries. It was kind of called Industry IT Project with Telstra and Microsoft. And
Okay.
And I was the only person designer in that team, and I was working along with people very experienced and knowledgeable, data scientists, infrastructure expert, product leads, and so forth. And I kind of felt a bit out of my depth when I joined the team, I must admit. A bit intimidated, but they were really incredibly welcoming, and also helped me. They even took me through the data science journey. And but
Okay.
I think, that experience, that's something what I think I brought to that team was the human-centered design process, and really make sure we put the users that we are targeting for those solutions, really understand their needs on a depth, so we can actually come up with something that works for them. But working together with them, we met closely, and so on. I guess that also made my drive, and I was also more inspired by, because we did the research and reflected on insights together, mapped journeys, and iterated on ideas, and we tested concepts, and that collaboration really paid off, because we achieved strong product scores on one of the initial designs.
Okay.
And it's yeah no, so it's kind of it made me even more inspired to, because I think, while design thinking, data, and so on can start be a bit abstract, but when you use data to inform your insights as well, and iterate it on it like it helps teams to make sense of that, and really see where the customer comes in, and how to help them do what matters. And I guess in addition to this, I mean, we have AI now, and there are ethical concerns around using Gen AI. But
Okay.
I also, during this project, I also had the opportunity to explore that ethical dimension a bit more, especially around bias and transparency. And of course, as I'm very passionate and really trying to understand
Right.
users. That became very crucial when designing AI solutions as well. So I guess, yeah, my inspiration is trying to bridge all those things, and even yeah, complex. But I mean, if you work together and put it together, you can really bring something powerful, meaningful, that works.
That's amazing, Eva. Now, Eva, you just told me that you had this experience of working in a project that was like a collaboration, or let's say, I mean, a collaboration between Telstra and Microsoft. Did you get that fan moment? That I'm working with the two big, the two big companies, Telstra and Microsoft, because Telstra is a huge thing, when it comes to telecommunications in Australia, and Microsoft is a reputed MNC across the world. So, did you have that, that awe moment kind of thing when you were part of it?
Yeah, it was fantastic. And I think also, like, all the team members were so motivated to work on this. It was a really exciting piece of project. And I think, when you start to get to work closely together, and you do those ideas, look at the research, data, and insight, and collaboratively come up with something. Like, we mapped all the journeys together of our target user group, and that's, I think, those aha moments came in, if that's what you were referring to, where we really could see, okay, yes, this is what we need to try to design, and making that tangible, coming up with concepts and so on. And then also having all developers who started to come up and test all those things. And that was fantastic. It was really fun. And I even got to do some of that myself, just a tiny bit. I mean, I'm not like an AI expert or developer, but I tried a little bit as well, and it was lots of fun. Yeah.
Fantastic, Eva. That's good to know that you had a great experience working for that project. Now, Eva, would you like to give an insight with respect to your expertise, covering from the likes of when we talk about prototyping, journey mapping, design research, then ideation, facilitation, and stakeholder engagement. So how do you club them all together? on
Oh,
these
how I
lines?
club it, club them all together. Well, yes, let me see. So it was design, research, journey mapping, ideation, facilitation, prototyping, and stakeholder management. And if we start with design research, I've done qualitative and quantitative studies. So both interviews and ethnographic studies, survey design, and then probably mostly interviews. Um, and sort of ethnographic studies, because one of like a project, for instance, when I was working at Telstra, we had 4 rounds of research, and after you talk to 15 people, you have 15 hours of almost of
Oh,
recordings that you need to make sense of, and so on. And I
oh,
guess now, when I was working on that AI project to come up with AI solutions for Australian industries. And then we started to have AI tools available to help us with the synthesis and stuff like that. But in some cases, I didn't have that. So in 2021, I didn't. It wasn't, we didn't have
yeah, yeah,
anything
yeah.
then
I know.
in that
Mhm.
point in time. But yes, but now I kind of, so I've done that type of research, but now I also supplement it with or augment it and have generative AI tools to help me with that, with design research, especially the synthesis and analysis. But I also do a part myself to make sure it's actually relevant and the insights are trustworthy. And then we have journey mapping, which is something I use a lot. One of my favorite tools to work with teams on, to get the full picture across all the systems and touch points and people and emotions that customers have, and working together with teams to put that together, because it creates this holistic understanding of what matters for the customers at different moments in time. But again, using Gen AI to support that as well, generating draft journey maps or something like that. So I guess, if I go through all these capabilities, like, and also ID for facilitation, which I've used and always try to kind of create a safe and structured space around it so people can feel they can contribute, and be it's an inclusive process. But also help with AI to spark ideas and reframe the problems as well. But the interesting thing I think is, though, that some of the, like when I was working with this project with data scientists and so on, and of course everyone used those Gen AI tools. It's also at 23, 24. Uh, the best idea came from a person.
Okay.
So that is kind of, yeah, it's a good help, but people can think too. And prototyping, that's another one. That's something I've used, especially when working as a service designer, more like the high fidelity prototypes where testing ideas and concepts. But I've been working with UX design as well, so then when you have more details, but it all depends on what you want the outcome to be, what you actually are testing. And so, yeah, I built wireframes, and now, of course, you have the wide coding tools and
Yeah,
AI
yeah.
agents that can actually
Yes.
just generate your prototype quite quickly.
Pretty
Not so
quick.
much actually
Yeah.
the low fidelity ones. That's I haven't found one really, but yeah, that I'm sure that will be coming. But yes, but I guess, finally, if we look at kind of stakeholder engagement, that's something that comes through, or I mean, that's super important. I think it's, if I look back in time, I always try to build relationships and understand people, so we can work together better and understand, and build this respect, and also tailor the communication needs depending on who I'm talking to, or for instance, people who don't have much time, send you leaves, and you just create more summaries of the journey maps or something like that, or the insights. Whereas if it's more detailed level, you provide more detailed level for a subject matter expert. So,
Yeah.
but I think. Yeah, it's a bunch of different skills we're talking about here, and they are like not separate skills, as I say. It's kind of part of the practice to use those skills. So and now we have AI as well to help us move faster, but it's the same skills, I would say, and the same process is important still, and to create meaningful experience. You can't just make things up. So
Yeah, yeah. That's a beautiful insight. Eva, like what were the key learnings that you have grabbed while working with data professionals and AI experts? I know that you had a touch of working with data scientists, but you just gave me a high level picture. Now, on a deep level picture, how would you like to summarize that?
summarize it. Well, I mean, again, I think one of my biggest learnings is that it's powerful when you bring different disciplines together,
Yeah.
and you get to know each other, and you create that space for mutual understanding. And yes, I been very fortunate working with great people, data scientists, engineers, AI specialists, and so on. And I don't really have a technical background myself. I mean, I actually did some coding, web design, long time ago, but that was a bit way off, and some studied statistics and so on. But I think what I learned from that experience is to work, to ask better questions, and also interpret the data more in a better way, and help translate those technical insights into more user outcomes. And as I mentioned, I was in this AI project where we, with Telstra and Microsoft, I was the only designer, and I kind of felt out of my depth, really. And
Yeah.
but they were super helpful, and maybe that's something I learned. I mean, I've been fortunate to work with great people along data and AI, and you also working in that space, aren't you, Akil?
Absolutely. I am, the thing is,
Yeah.
I'm still, I've not yet reached the port, I'm almost coming to the end of my course, and then I'll go into the real life use cases when I become a data scientist.
Oh,
So,
yeah. And you're a lovely person too. So maybe that's a learning, I guess, as well.
yeah, thank you.
But also, I guess I should mention it because, I deeply respect the cognitive skills it takes to work and transform the data and make something useful out of it. And I mean, because I've been handed files with thousands of rows, and I haven't been even able to make sense of what the column headings means. They're like, some cryptic word like cast, seg, something. And it's like, how can I understand what that means even? But,
Yeah.
they helping make sense of those puzzles is something I learned to deeply respect. And it's like, yeah, I think also addition, for being lovely people, I've been fortunate, but they've also been very curious.
Yeah.
So, for instance, that project I've been referring to back again with the AI solution, they were really curious and to understand what human-centered design was, and like, wanted to explore, learn something new. So, very willing to try new methods, test ideas. And it's something I guess I need to mention that because data is not neutral, and my understanding around it, working with those professionals, has made that even clearer. And especially when I started to work the first time with Gen AI solutions, you really get to understand, how those systems can actually amplify bias.
Okay.
So it's a lot about designing fairness and transparency. And I also learned that from the data scientists at that AI development project, and read a bit about the framework that Microsoft has put together on it. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there are lots of things, and something I guess I've become over the years more and more interested in data. And something, another key learning is that I mean, sometimes I've come in talking to them with being quite ambiguous, because I can describe the experience, what we want to understand, but I don't know yet how to translate that into data, like into metrics. And it learned that you really need to work together a couple of rounds to make that possible, to see that clarity. And also, you must work from customer goals when you want to define metrics from data. Otherwise, it's like, yeah, I learned that lesson at when I was looking at those big CSV files I had working at Telstra. And it's like, otherwise, it's looking for a needle in a haystack. It takes such a long time. But if you
Yep.
work from the customer goals, then you know what type of signals you're after. So you're really trying
Exactly.
to answer what actually is that, what represents that signal, that experience. So
Okay.
yeah, that's something else. And I learned it more because I had worked with a data scientist to kind of pull together like a metrics framework. So I don't know. Yeah. So I guess summarizing, I think I've kind of, I have a better understanding, appreciation for that,
Yep.
for those professions, and I really appreciate it. And been great the people I've been working with. And but at the same time, I learned to ask them better questions and build clearer metrics, derive them from the goals, and really appreciate that cognitive skills that it takes to turn the raw data and make it meaningful, provide those meaningful narratives. And the collaboration, I think, is great, because that's when magic happens.
Yeah. Fantastic. Eva, you came from a non-technical background. So to adapt to the technical side, how long did it take you?
Oh, well, I guess, yeah, no, I guess when I'm talking about that, I came from a non-technical background. I didn't deliberately try to study technical subjects at university. I studied like science, sociology and so on.
Okay.
Statistics I guess, is a bit more data oriented, but I still been keen to learn about things. And also when I worked with web design, and when I started
Hmm.
working, you actually had to code.
Yeah.
So there wasn't any prompt available, and you had to
Oh.
adapt to lots of browser versions and include scripts and stuff like that. So yeah, so but I think I've learned, because I'm curious to understand how things work. I try to learn wherever I come. I try to learn about the business, what they're offering, and if it was like, as I work mostly in telcos, if the internet service, how does it work to some extent? So because I think it's very important. I need to try to communicate in a way with those subject matter experts that has a great knowledge about those things. And so I guess that's I learned gradually, but every time I go anywhere, I try to read up. I try to take a course or something like that to make sure I understand what the business is about, and the project, so we can talk to each other better and communicate.
Amazing. So basically, I can just, try to understand this that, you got the germ of the idea, or let's say the bug of the idea when you started working with web design. So I think you need to, thank the web design experience as your turning point, or let's say game changer in your life, I would say.
Yeah. No. So yeah, no, it's I think, yeah, I remember because we were talking about this question. It's like, yeah, going through my journey. Yeah, it's a bit of
Yeah,
yeah, you have to think back in time to see how it all fits
I
together, to
know.
see if there's a red
Absolutely.
thread. But it's quite good exercise actually. You understand yourself maybe a little bit better. So
Yep.
yes, it's really understanding the design and but yeah, as yeah, I'm bringing up again, but it's understanding people. That's what I'm curious about, and I really want to understand. I want to make it better for them.
That's an amazing that's an amazing thought, and I really love the way you are combining things together, and I really love the zeal with which you're progressing when it comes to the service design and the UX design side. Now, having said that, Eva, now I mean very recently I came to know that you attended something called the Service Design Social. So can you give me and our listeners a complete overview about it, and can you just mention like what exactly is that event about?
Well, it's actually something we're shaping, I would say. And I mean, it's service design social is very much a community-led event where service designers and people interested in this area, this space, or new or working in it come together to connect and share stories and support each other. And it's very much like an informal, energizing, inclusive event where you get to meet all those people. It's really fun, and it actually started out with a few of us in Melbourne, and especially a lady, a fantastic service designer and person. Her name is Tamara Fernandez, who we're looking to connect with other service designers outside her workplace. And I was searching too, and we just found each other. And the funny thing is that there is actually also an additional person who lives in Canada who helped us connect
Oh,
too.
okay.
Yeah, so his name is Aaron. I never met him in person, but he's a fantastic service designer as well, and human being. And we connected, and Tamara helped bring a little group of us together, and it's just a small group, so that is kind of running those events. And we just started. The first one was on event was on October 7th. So I'm now part of a small group, including Tamar and fantastic people like we have Matt, Janine, and Sharon and Evelyn, and we help organize those events. And we all come, I guess, from different industry, have different backgrounds, and we just love collaboration and the community. So but yeah, most of all, everyone is welcome if you're interested in service design or if you're just
Yeah.
curious, and it's like a space to meet and exchange ideas and like yeah, and I don't know if I but our next event is on November 25, and you can find it in Eventbrite. And I don't know, do you put together like links or something in relation to your podcast when you publish it? Because
Yes, I
maybe
do.
we can put that link there, so anyone. And well,
100%.
why
Yeah.
don't you come? Or if you're in Australia, that would be fantastic.
Absolutely. I mean, they would definitely love to,
Yeah. So
join.
yeah.
That's amazing. Eva, now, Eva, do you, I mean, when it comes to the, service design social event, is there any, idea or let's say any thought process of, expanding it across Australia or let's say across New Zealand, for that matter?
I guess we're shaping it now, and we're trying to figure that out. What will this be like? Because there's certainly a need for connection, and it started here now, and there might be other communities as well, but we couldn't find one that was active in Melbourne, and so that's how it all started. But where it's going, I'm not sure. I want to
Okay.
continue. I think it's so fun, and I see I think we checked the numbers for on Eventbrite the other day, and there are lots of people who have signed up already. So there's clearly a need for something like that. But yeah, how it's spread out, we will see. But it's really fun, and yeah, feel free to join.
Fantastic. Eva, people who are, thinking of, pursuing into the service design, the UX, or let's say the human-centered design space, like what are the tools that you recommend them to, start on with?
Oh gosh, yeah, there are so many tools and so on that you can use, applications and so on. But yeah, I think it's kind of a mindset, and to get into that mindset, something that helped me was reading a bit about it and taking courses. But if you're starting out or want to have a look at some area, for instance, I mean there are, if you want to understand more about the research side of it, you can look at different tools around user interviews and design research. And there is also great literature around it. And then you have other things like ideation and visualization tools, and where you use whiteboarding, for instance, and yes, the different templates and so on you can have a look at as well. And if you look at more like pure applications you want to explore, I mean, Miro, I think, is one of the best online facilitation tools there are at the moment. But also when it comes to visualization facilitation, I like post-it notes.
Okay.
Like classical, but when you meet someone in people as person, or sketch pads, or like physical whiteboards, that can also work well when you're in the free sketching something together.
Yeah.
But other tools or methods to try to understand this better is you around mapping out journeys for users and customers to visualize the end-to-end experience. So both for the customers, what they see, but also what's happening at the company as well. So, and that's kind of in service design, like documentation, sometimes called backstage processes.
Yeah.
But templates for that, if you have access to Miro, you can have a look at those templates and you can use those as well.
Okay.
And what else? I mean, when it comes to prototyping tools, I think sometimes low fidelity prototyping, like you just want to sketch an idea, sometimes just use pen and paper still. But you have also other things like Balsamic or Marble
Hmm.
available for you. Yeah, I use Miro as well to just quickly put something together to kind of show that idea or concept. But if it's more high fidelity prototyping, like I mean, Figma, Adobe XD is other things I've been using, and of course you have the whole Adobe suite with Illustrator and Photoshop and so forth. But yeah, then there are lots of different platforms where you can gather user feedback as well. Yes, the more like Maze Usability Hub, and yes, there are lots of them, and simple sessions like this, you have interviews over a video or in person or something like that. But yeah, maybe that's I'll stop there. Lots of different tools. Maybe I should pull something together. We add that to the podcast as well.
Yeah.
Methodology or links or references, if that can help. But yeah, I think it's
100%.
kind of the mindset. Being curious, learn, and start listen to users and try to understand them and the stakeholders and collaborate with different people, and keep iterating and just do small things. You don't have to test like a full application. You can just test something small, like an idea, and then you build out kind of your toolkits and your experience as you go.
Indeed, Eva, that is pretty sure. Now, even like when we talk about Miro board, like what I mean, how did you utilize it? What were the use cases that you used it for?
Oh, I'll use it for all different types of online workshops. But I also used it for synthesizing and collaborating together, because you have this visual view of doing something together just by moving and enter different information or notes and stuff like that. So everyone is aligned instead of having like a PowerPoint presentation, which is look, you don't collaborate around it. It's more like a presentation. But if you have a tool like that, everyone can participate. But for
Okay.
workshopping, I've done it more structurally. So we go through different steps, exercises that are intentionally designed to reach a certain outcome. So yes, and I also done it just synthesizing, analyzing, just coming up with ideas and sketching actually.
Okay.
Maybe not be the best tool for sketching. I haven't used it for sketching for a long, but yeah, it's quick. You can just draw something quickly. So yes, a lot
That's
of
an
use
amazing insight. Yeah.
cases, and now Gen AI as well. So it kind of
Yeah.
automatically helps you synthesize, come up with ideas, documentation, and things like that. There are a lot of things you can use it for, and I personally find it the best uh, type of tool in that when it comes to those use cases, workshopping and like facilitation, especially.
That's beautiful insight, Eva. Now, Eva, before actually we conclude our podcast session, let's take a lighter route in the form of rapid fire round. All this while, I was bombarding you with questions of service design, UX design, ideation, ideation, facilitation, and everything about your journey. So we'll take a lighter route in the form of a quick rapid fire round. Talking about
Okay,
your
yep, all
likes and
right, okay.
interests. All right. So
Oh,
you're ready for the first question of the rapid fire round, Eva?
yes, okay. It sounds like a game.
Yeah.
Almost.
All right. So, Eva, since you're from Sweden, I just wanted to understand like what is your favorite sports team that you have supported since your childhood?
Oh, my favorite sports team. Well, I keep an eye on them actually still. I've been looking at soccer, and my favorite sport team has probably been IK. Yes, it's a soccer team from Stockholm.
Okay, well, what's the team's name again? Because I know three teams.
Yeah, so it's the REK, it's AIK.
Oh
That's
yes,
the
yes.
team's name, team soccer name. So
Surprisingly,
sometimes I keep an eye out and see what's going on. And
yeah,
yes, I've been to a couple of soccer matches when I was living in Sweden.
fantastic. Surprisingly, I've been to Sweden. I mean, my cousin is based in Stockholm. He lives in a place called Järfälla in
Oh, that's not far away from where I grew up.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's a beautiful country. I loved Sweden. And, I mean, I just went to a particular sports shop and the shirt that I picked up, the t-shirt that was Ike's, t-shirt. And surprisingly, I support them. Not, much,
Oh, wow.
yeah, coincidentally.
Oh, that's really cool. Oh,
They're,
that's fantastic.
they're a beautiful team. So now, if people want to, visit Sweden, apart from Stockholm, what is the place that you would like to, recommend them to have a, visit for?
Oh, I think that's tricky because it depends on what you like to see. So, I mean, I personally love that all the forest and all the lakes that you have in Sweden and the nature. Yeah, traveling around an archipelago around Stockholm is just amazing. But there are so
Okay.
many
Yeah.
places. I don't know. So it's more. I would probably come back with a question. So what you're after? Or I would ask. So what do you usually do when you're on vacations? So I can understand a little bit better. But yeah, lots of nice things to do. I guess it's a bit colder climate.
That is
So
true.
yeah, so you just be wary of that if you're interested in going there during the winter. I
Yeah.
actually I remember when I was working in Sweden, I had a colleague from India coming over,
Oh.
and we were probably not providing him enough information how cold it could be. I tried to say, all right, it's like in your freezer. Because it's so cold some days, it's minus 15.
I know.
In Stockholm. It can be even colder than that. But it's the same when I've been going and when I was living in Sweden, going to other countries warmer, and just all of a sudden you experience almost close to 40 degrees. It's hard to describe what it feels like. It's
It
very
is. It
hot.
is. For sure.
So yeah. So yeah, that be mindful of that, depending on what you like as well, but can become quite cold and during the winter months.
Too bad I went in the summertime, so I could not experience that complete winterish kind of feel. I've been to, two places. I loved the most in Sweden was Gothenburg. I loved Gothenburg because it was
Oh,
such a
that's
cool place.
fantastic as well.
Yeah. It's a very beautiful place, a very, it gives me a good vibe, very welcoming place, a good vibe. And it was like, I just felt like I was home away from home. I didn't feel like I'm in a new city. So Gothenburg always, stays in my mind and, stays in my heart. It's such a beautiful place.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, no, I think Gothenburg is a fantastic city as well.
100%. And then again, when you talked about, the Stockholm archipelago, I could see it from the cruise. I was actually with my family. I was just going from Stockholm to Helsinki in the cruise, and it was just like, a day or two kind of a travel. That's it. So that was like a fantastic, trip for me. So yeah, now Eva, since I come from India, I'm pretty much keen to ask you this: like, what is your favorite Indian dish that you like to, have?
Oh, my favorite. I think there's so much good food coming from India, but um, well, what should I call? Yeah, I think I really like the mango chutney. I don't know what it's called actually, but
Mango
it's like a
chutney. Yeah.
dessert. Yeah, but it's like a mango dessert with yogurt in it. It's so nice. It's fantastic, and I
Uh,
remember
yeah.
some of my colleagues have given it to me. But I
Okay.
mean, there's so much good food from India. I love it. It's kind of, I know it's very different from the Swedish cuisine, but
Yes. Yeah.
Swedish cuisine is a bit heavy in a way,
Okay.
heavy food.
Okay.
And I don't know, I find the Indian food also a little bit heavy, and I like that. So, but yeah, no, it's fantastic. No, there's so many different types of food I love from India. I think it's, yeah, great. But yeah,
Fantastic.
I had to pick one. So it's that whatever it's called, it's with mango and I think some yogurt dessert that you can buy it here as well. Do you know what it is I'm
Yes.
referring to?
It's not a dessert. It's like, basically, it's like a drink. It's a mango drink. It's called mango
Yeah.
lassi.
Oh yes, that's it. Mango lassi. Oh gosh,
It's my
that's
favorite as well.
so great when, especially during hot days. Fantastic.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. That is there for sure. So, even like while growing up, what was the Swedish television show that you liked the most?
Oh wow, the Swedish television show that I like the most. Well, when I was a kid, I mean, I really enjoyed during Christmas time. They had this Walt Disney show showing all the
Oh,
different characters and around Christmas. Yeah, Christmas scenes and stuff like that. I really enjoyed that. And that's something they send every year actually at
okay.
is it 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Christmas Eve, so December
Fantastic. Yeah.
24th.
Yeah.
That's something when I'm in Sweden, that's something, and if I'm there during Christmas, I watch it every year.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's a show. And also I kind of like, Eurovision. I think it's so fun to
Eurovision. Yes, yes.
follow.
Yeah.
And it's a big thing in Sweden. And
Okay.
yeah, I always try to follow that show. I think it's so funny, and it's a little bit of, it's good to know a bit about the different countries and differences, and listen to it all. Yeah, it's kind of fun. It's a bit over
Amazing.
the top, which makes it also a bit fun as
Yeah, yeah.
well.
That's true. That's true. Very, very truly. Now, Eva, like if I would like to learn something. I mean something in svenska or from in Swedish from you. Like, what is that word that you would like to teach me?
Oh, wow. Well, something that's really useful is to say, hey,
Hey. Okay.
that means hello.
Hello. Okay. Hey. Right.
And I mean, if you want to be more advanced, like a sentence is, hej, hur mår du?
Hey, movie do. No, I'm sorry, I couldn't get that.
Yeah, something like that. Hej, hur mår du? It means, hello, how do you do?
Okay. That's nice. That's nice. I'll share an incident. What happened. As I was buying the football shirt from the clothes. I mean, from the sports shop. So there was one person behind, and they were sort of talking something in Swedish. And luckily, my cousin understands a bit Swedish, and he's learning Swedish. So I was like, "What is he talking? I am not getting a word he's saying." Then he's like, he's saying you to just hurry up quickly. At the counter.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But in Sweden, the thing is, if someone doesn't know Swedish, they're very, very helpful and they start speaking in English. So that's one thing I really love about it.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It is really, I mean, I found it very
I
surprising.
think also some I have the experience also that some Swedes likes to take the opportunity to practice their English as
Oh, yeah,
well.
yeah. They do, they do. And I mean, some people are so good, when they talk. I mean, sometimes I feel like, oh, wow, they're speaking a little bit like, from the person from the States or from UK. So those kind of things, it was like
Oh,
that.
right. Okay. Yeah. So a mix of UK and the States.
And the
Okay.
States, yeah, yeah. That is it for sure. Yeah, and the final question to you, Eva, what is your, I mean, so what is your favorite hobby that you would like that you always enjoy the most in your free time?
Well, I guess I actually have two hobbies that I really enjoy. I love cycling and I
Okay.
love just going out. It's the kind of the freedom and the air and I think being living in Melbourne and here the climate is very good for that particular hobby.
Okay.
So no, I really enjoy that and cycling with my friends. That's fantastic, and I love singing too. So I guess yeah, I want to do them both, not at the same
Fantastic.
time though.
Right. That's amazing, Eva. So now, I mean, adding one more question to to the podcast. I mean, rapid fire session, if you please, if you give me the opportunity. So apart, I mean, if I have to, I'll give you three options of the best Swedish artist. Who would that be? ABBA? Is it Ted or is it Roxette?
Well, I must say ABBA. I think ABBA is if you have those three choices, I would say ABBA definitely.
My family is a huge my family, like certain people in my family, they really love to listen to ABBA songs. We used to have a CD of ABBA music and we used to keep it in our car. When I was a kid, I sometimes used to not get the music. I used to not resonate with, but I started growing up. I just love the way, there's some magic, in that tune of ABBA, really.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's kind of very simple melodic songs. It's easy to sing along as well. Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
love I love ABBA, and I realized when moving to Australia that there are quite many Australians who love ABBA, maybe even
100%.
more than Swedes.
Combined.
So yeah, yeah, that's kind of interesting.
As they say, right, music is universal. So every person, who understands English and, music for that matter, they will definitely appreciate the best of music. So that's uh that's what it is.
Yes, for sure.
All right. All right, Eva. So thank you once again, for taking time from your busy schedule and, being part of my podcast initiative. It was, lovely collaborating with you, on the lines of service design, UX, and, about human-centered design, and the way you were sharing your anecdotes when you were part of, Telstra and Microsoft and all those experiences. So they really blew me, and I just had a great time, conversing with you on those lines. So thank you so much once again.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This is my first time being part of a podcast
Okay.
and so on. And so, yeah, no, thank you so much. And yeah, it's really interesting. And I hope something might resonate with someone who is listening, hopefully.
100%.
So
That
I'm
would
not
really happen. Yeah.
rambling too much. But
Not at
yes,
all.
no,
Not at all.
it's really great experience. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for anyone who listens to this as well. So
Yeah.
thank you.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic, Eva. So, listeners, on this note, this is your host, Akhil Navluri, signing off. We would be back with another podcast episode with another eminent industry leader of the IT space very soon. Till then, keep listening. Goodbye. Stay tuned. Goodbye and au revoir. Thank you.